Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Out's here, and we are reacting to a stupid game last night that really pissed me off and was just annoying, like just dumb. There's a lot about last night that annoyed the hell out of me and just has me in a bad mood. I tried to sleep on it so I wouldn't be so uh, angry because I was angry last night. I'm not gonna lie. At the end of the game last night, I was angry. I'm not angry at the Raptors though. Not angry at the team. I'm not angry at the players. I'm not angry at Darko. I'm angry at MLSE, and I'm angry at Sportsnet, and I'm angry at the Knicks. Yeah, I'm angry at those three things. I'm not mad at the Raptors. In some ways, they frustrate me because they don't execute correctly. They have poor turnovers. They don't make open shots. They do stupid things that, are not on the script for winning. And it just annoys me. We just don't have that polish. We just don't have that attention to detail yet, and the sanctity of what it takes to win. Meanwhile, there's a lot to what happened last night. There's a lot to it, and I'll try and go over it. I'm doing a members only channel chat today because there's a game at 11, and I want to be done by 11, and I'm shortening how many people can chat because I want to be done. And we want to have a preview for that game very soon. And yeah, I'll do the reaction for the game last night, but I don't want to go on about it for 3 hours. I really, really don't. So the chat is limited today to members of the channel, not just subscribers. You have to be a member of the channel to get your comment in today. And I've done this before when I want to have a quick stream. And well, I want to have a quick stream because there's a school day game starting at 11 a.m. in an hour and 40 minutes. And the Raptors are playing at Mississauga Fairmount Fine Food Center. Raptors 905 versus Rio Grande Vipers, the G League team of the Houston Rockets. And well, I should go over that stuff real quick for the preview, real quick. So yeah, we're playing them today, and we're playing them on Friday too. So we're playing 2-game series with the Vipers, who are the G League team for the Rockets. And well, this is who they are. They've got F.A. Abogidi, Vernon Carey of Duke, the center, Ricky Council, formerly of the Philadelphia 76ers, out of Arkansas, is on this team. Isaiah Crawford, the standout, former Maine Celtic, J.D. Davison, will be playing in this game. He's a scorer. He's a hooper. Chase Jeter out of Arizona, John Knight, Stevie Mitchell, Cameron Matthews, Caleb McConnell, Deshaun Nix, who's been on G League Ignite, Tristan Newton, and Jonathan Pierre. That is the Vipers roster. And well, the roster for the 905 has changed once again. We've got another player that has been signed away on a 2-way contract and is not coming back. It'd be different if they got a 10-day contract because that would mean they're gone for 10 days and probably coming back. But Olivier Sarr, as of yesterday, signed to a 2-way with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I wonder about that. It's like Cleveland wants to get somebody from our G League team. Maybe it's because he knows our system and we're lined up to play them in the first round for the playoffs. Yeah, I'm thinking that way. I'm like, the good thing is though that Olivier Sarr, in some ways, he's a good athletic guy, but he's not the highest IQ guy. And maybe it's not a big deal. In some ways, he learned our system. He learned more and more as the season went on, but maybe he's not the one to break the code and teach them. I don't know. Either way, we wish Olivier good luck in Cleveland Cavaliers 2-way, even if we're losing guys left and right. So we did pick up a guy yesterday, which is awesome, a Canadian. We upped our Canadian quotient on Raptors 905 with Tyrese Samuel coming in, University of Florida. He's been around for a little while. Let me go look at his Wikipedia for you guys real quick. Tyrese is from LaSalle, Quebec, and he's 6'9", 239 pounds. He went to high school in Maryland and also in Orangeville, Ontario. And he went to Seton Hall and college in Florida, University of Florida. He was undrafted in the 2024 year, and he's been hanging around the Suns franchise on the G League the last couple years. Tyrese Samuel was a Valley Sun. Luke Wentz traded a first-round pick in the G League draft for Tyrese Samuel to come and play for us. Now he's a big guy. He's not a true center, but he's a very forceful, strong player. I've seen him play in person because he was in the CBL last year, and he started the season on the CBL on my team, the Scarborough Shooting Stars. So he was a Scarborough Shooting Star, but midway through the season last year, he got traded to Vancouver, and in the CBL, the rights to him are on the Vancouver Bandits. But yeah, we upped our Canadian content. This will be fun too for Elijah Martin, having another Gator on the team with him. So yeah, he has two sisters, and this is the son of Patricia Bino and John Samuel. So welcome, Tyrese Samuel. We're going to need you right away. So please learn the system quickly, because we're going to need you out there to play against the Rio Grande Vipers this morning. Yeah, 11 a.m. School days game. It is at Paramount. It's not at the Scotiabank Arena this morning. I did something yesterday I'd never done in my life. I went to Tyrese Samuel's Wikipedia page, and I saw that it still said that he played for Valley Suns. So I went ahead and edited it. So I got to edit a Wikipedia page for the first time in my life. I'm the one who put him on Raptors 905. So if you go to his Wikipedia to look it up, I'm the dude who edited it. I've never edited Wikipedia until yesterday. So that I feel like honored that I got to switch Tyrese Samuel's Wikipedia page to Raptors 905. It was cool. I was like, when I did, I was like, wow, I'm a Wikipedia editor. I changed him to Raptors 905 on the chat. It's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. But yeah, Tyrese, welcome to the 905. And I look forward to seeing you play in majorly good ways for the 905. We need you, man. We need your size. In some ways, he's a similar size guy to Juju Reese, but he is not exactly Juju Reese. But he's Canadian, and we got to love that. So, yeah. The referees for today's game at 11 a.m., we do have a ref crew, and one of them's a ref that we had on Sunday. He's stuck around. Nate Kearley is going to be reffing us again today. Number 84, the second season as a non-staff official out of Garden City, Kansas. His favorite TV show is Game of Thrones. He likes Shawshank Redemption. He listens to Noah Kahan. His favorite book is The Other Westmore. He likes anything his mom cooks. His favorite app is The Grint. He'd most like to visit Croatia. His bucket list is skydiving, and he has a hidden talent for singing karaoke. Yeah, Kearley is one of 7 non-staff officials scheduled to work the NBA regular season games in 2025-2026. So he's getting shots to ref NBA games this year. Now, he was the crew chief in the game on Sunday that I went to with Adriana, and he did a pretty good job. He's a pretty, they're young. They were young refs. Him and Julian Scott were a lot younger than I thought. Like they're young. And they kind of, before the game, they were acting all goofy. Like Julian was dancing to the music in the arena. But yeah, I told Nate at the end of the game, good job refereeing, even though we got blown out by 30, because they did do a good job refereeing. Much better job than the game on Saturday. That's for sure. So yeah, he's the crew chief. The second ref's going to be Claire Simmons, number 14, and AJ Ganelli is the umpire, number 62. 11 a.m. is the tip-off. That's why we're running towards the end of the stream as fast as we can. So Trevor J's words of wisdom. Thank you, Trevor J. You've already made it through every storm life tried to break you with. Don't hand a substance the power to finish what pain couldn't destroy. Is this an anti-drug campaign? Is this Nancy Reagan saying just say no to drugs? Yeah, don't use cocaine, kids. That's definitely in this subject right here. It's like, don't hand a substance the power to finish what pain couldn't destroy. Wow. You know, it's a weird thing. You know what? I want to talk about this for a second. Life can be tough. Life can be painful. It can be painful physically or emotionally. And we're going into an age of where it seems like the powers that be don't give a shit about people. So there's going to be a lot of pain to go around, it seems like. whether it's people that are Iranian that are feeling the pain of what's going on in their country right now with family members missing or killed or subjugated, whether it's pain of people in the States worried about people in ICE detention and all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of pain out there. I don't ever get down on people who mitigate their pain to a degree in some ways because you're right. In some ways, you don't want to be addicted to alcohol, drugs, and other things to make your mind feel better. But sometimes people need that just to deal with the hell they deal with. And I'm not advocating alcoholism. I'm not advocating this and that. But somebody like Adriana's grandmother, she broke her hip and she's in a lot of pain right now. They have to give her pain meds because in some ways she's not going to heal. She's so old and it's a sad situation. But in that case, it's like, what's the humane thing to do? She has pain. She needs to be taking things like morphine and things like that, even, near the end of her life, just to mitigate the pain. In some ways, some people may feel such unfathomable pain that drinking their face off may be the only thing that they'll be able to fucking do. I know this is a really good intended word of wisdom, and I think the general idea of it is correct in a normal society. But when society devolves into what it's devolving into right now, I would not put it past anybody if they need to do some substance addiction to get through what's going on right now. Because honestly, this shit is fucked up. And it's not that I'm condoning go drink your face off because I'm an alcoholic and I will never pick up again myself. And the other demons that I've beaten also, I'm not trying to go revisit them either. But a weaker man and another person that may have really a lot to deal with, they're losing or lost a lot and they're scared and they're sad and they have a lot of pain from losing people that they love. I mean, I wouldn't fault them. This is one life to live. And if they have a lot of pain and they have to deal with it that way to numb it, that's just a sad reality of the twisted and criminal fucked up world of Trump that we live in now. And I want people to be strong and go through it without having to do that. But I'm not going to get mad at you if you do. Because in some ways, this world is going down the tubes. And whatever you have to do to help yourself be all right, I'm not going to judge you for it at this point. No, just don't drink and drive. Don't drive on substances where you could hurt somebody. And, don't OD. Don't, just take care of yourself as best as you can. It's a messed up thing, man. Yeah. Trevor J saying Raptors came up short once again, could not score points in the fourth quarter. By the way, blessings to the Jones family, all the Raptor Freak families. Yeah, I'm going to touch on this game in a very strange way. I may do this game a little bit more different than I've done in the past as far as reaction. In some ways, I want to give credit to the New York Knicks for outplaying us once again, because that's true. I want to give credit to the New York Knicks for being a scrappy team that is a championship contender and a team that is more capable to win a championship right now than Toronto Raptors. I will say that the Raptors are closer to beating them than they were the last times we played them this season. Even though the score got out of hand in the last bit, we were right there and we had our chances. And that's part of the reason why I'm so pissed off and annoyed right now. It's not that I'm, once again, annoyed at the team. I'm annoyed at everything else. And I'm going to tell you why I'm annoyed with everything else. I'm going to go through each one because, first of all, I'm annoyed with Rogers Sportsnet. I'm annoyed with the channel. Because, well, Danielle Michaud and Brad Fay showed up again from coming back from the Winter Olympics, and they suck. They absolutely suck. The difference of having them gone and then having them back absolutely reinforced just how much I hate them. And I just don't want them doing Raptors games. They are gaslighting Raptors fans. I actually honestly thought watching Danielle Michaud last night that they put her in that position to turn people off from watching basketball, because she's so annoying and she's such a little, I don't know what I should call her. Either way, I know she has health problems and that she's a fighter and she went through that, and that's admirable. But honestly, she's an annoying broadcaster. And in some ways, fuck you, Danielle Michaud. Two finger salute for doing a clip on Josh Hart's finger guns. Like, what the fuck is this? You're the home team announcer. You're the home team broadcast, and y'all are making funny clips of the other team trolling us in a very tasteless way in a gun culture violent world that we're living in right now. There's soldiers, people dying in Iran right now, and you guys want to make a little clip of Josh Hart doing little guns at Brandon Ingram and RJ Barrett on the bench, and you keep bringing it up. It's like, why don't y'all just fucking promote the hell out of LeBronto again? Like, what the fuck is that? Y'all should be with our team, but no, you're not. Our broadcast is against us. It's obvious. Brad Fay gaslighting us every single intro when he's on. Oh, good day, Raptors. Welcome to the Raptors game. The Knicks are great, and they're going to kick the Raptors' ass. And I'm going to talk down the Raptors in subtle ways and train Raptors fans to secretly hate their team because I'm coding it with being the studio host, sitting here with Matt Bonner and Sherman Hamilton. And I'm going to say really insidious, kind of fucked up things on the down low to train the psychology of Raptors Nation to hate itself. That's what Brad Fay does, y'all. Fucking piece of shit. Fuck you, Brad Fay. You're bullshit. And y'all glazing the Knicks all last night. Fuck you for that, too. You think that the Knicks broadcast pregame glazes the Raptors in any kind of way? You always say, well, they're not good enough to get blazed by us. No, I don't like this equal time. Promote our team and don't talk us down like we're secondary or not a contender compared to them. It was disgusting the way Roger Sportsnet glazed the hell out of the Knicks on Bills night of all nights. That was another whole disaster I'm going to talk about in a sec too. Yeah, I hate Bills night. I hope that we do not do this ever again. I have a feeling it's going to be a yearly thing now because of a partnership with them. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Having super fans of the Bills there and the Bills players and doing the Bills fight song. What the fuck? It doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense to me. Y'all are going to try and say, oh, it's because we have a lot of Bills fans in Toronto. This doesn't mean that the Raptors need to have a Bills night. We can share fan nations, but it doesn't mean we have to have a Bills night in the arena with all the stupid shit that was going on in the arena last night. So much dumb shit. We were kicking some butt in the game and playing real well with the Knicks. And then Tracy and Vince sat down with the broadcast group and everything kind of went to shit at that point. Yeah. I mean, is this how we get Vince back into the broadcast booth with Alvin and Matt? He's a part owner of the Bills, so he gets to come and sit down for like a little bit and analyze the game for a second. He's good at his job. I think Vince is one of the best color analysts in basketball today. That's why he's doing it for the big network there. That's why I say, like, I enjoyed the games that he called with Alvin last year and Matt on Sportsnet, but we ain't getting that back. It's just lame, man. Just all around lame. The t-shirt was lame. The guy getting sprayed with mustard and ketchup before the game, that's lame Bills Mafia bullshit. And I'm sorry if I'm pissing off any Bills fans that watch me. It's just, I don't get this. Are y'all going to have a Raptors night at their new arena next year in Buffalo? Is there a reciprocal thing, or is that not even needed to be done because the Raptors brand stands on its own and doesn't need a crutch from a fucking NFL team to try and get more fans and more money going towards it? The Bills, are they in trouble? Do they need more revenue because they're building a new arena nobody really needs in a stupid fucking convoluted way that's taking money from the taxpayers in the city of Buffalo, New York? Do they really need a Raptors night happening up here where they have the Bills night at a Raptors game? They really need this? Are they that hard up to get more business that they have to stand on the very powerful brand of the Toronto Raptors to get more exposure? Do they need this? This is pathetic if it is, because they're NFL. And I thought the NFL was bigger than the NBA. But apparently the Raptors are bigger than the Bills because the Bills need the Raptors' help to get more money going towards their franchise. I don't think they're going to do the same thing for us on the other side of the border because you know what? Honestly, we don't need their fucking help to promote our team because our team's a global brand that's very popular and gets stronger every day. Bills Nation, well, I mean, in some ways, it's a losing team. It has been forever. When did they fucking win the Super Bowl? And in some ways, why do we want their loser vibes around our arena and their bullshit is what I'm saying. So, yeah, I was pissed off, man, about Rogers Sportsnet, about Bills night, and about how the Knicks act on the court and how cocky they are and their bullshit. We're this close to coming to get y'all, and we should have gotten y'all last night. I could taste it. I could taste us beating y'all finally after 11 games losses straight. I didn't want y'all to get that dozen. No, I didn't. I wanted to end that streak last night, just like RJ Barrett and Scotty Barnes did too. And they were pissed at the end of the game, just like I was. See, I looked to the leaders of the team to see how we should be. And RJ wanted this one so bad. So did Scott. You saw Scotty talking trash with Jalen Brunson in the fourth quarter. Yeah, it was getting a little bit more amped up. And in some ways, I like that because that means Barnes gives a shit more about finally beating the Knicks again. Because it's like, yeah, I wish you could have cashed that check by the end of the game. But Scotty, you got sitting on the bench once again and realizing you're the loser. You're not the one who got the job done, and the other side is getting the W. That's annoying. RJ, you've never beaten the Knicks. You and Emmanuel have never beaten the Knicks in your life. And I know y'all wanted to last night because you came at the fourth quarter with a really good energy, and y'all were fighting to get us back in this game. And you had us there. We were within 2 points within 5 minutes of game, but everything devolved because partly, and we saw this right from the start. Right away, Scotty gets a touch foul. Like 5 seconds in the game, Courtney Kirkland says, no. All right, because you listen, we set it up like this. We know we're playing the fucking Knicks, and we know how they fucking play with their bullshit. Part of it is reputation. This is similar shit to Detroit Pistons, Bad Boys, 80s, 90s, Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer, Isaiah Thomas shit. The Knicks have a reputation with the referees. So in some ways, their special move is go ahead and steal the ball from people and foul them without getting called for it. And they do that shit all throughout the game. So we want to match their energy. We want to come into the game and beat their ass with the way they play, but we're not allowed to. As soon as the fucking game starts, Scotty plays like we want to engage with them for the game. And Courtney Kirkland wants to say, nah, we're not doing that this way. At least we're not doing that for you this way. So real quick, first foul on Scotty within 5 seconds of the game started. Same thing for Emmanuel. He gets a quick foul the first time he tries to guard up on somebody a certain way. And that already is a mind fuck right there. Okay, you're going to let them have carte blanche to fucking go and do all kinds of crazy shit with their hands and grabbing Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson. But you're not going to let the Raptors, you're going to tie one arm behind our back. That shit pisses me off because that is ref manipulation. That is setting the tone for this one team's going to be allowed to do whatever they want. And you guys are, we're watching y'all. And it pissed me off. I know that the Raptors shot more free throws than the other team. Yes, they did because they fouled the hell out of us all game. And they we couldn't foul at a certain point because we were taught not to. There's a lot of different insidious things that happen. Cat fell out of bounds at one point and was sitting in the corner in the crowd. And Courtney held the ball and waited for him to get up and walk all the way down the court before he let us inbound it. A lot of other teams would get the ball handed right to them, and we would get a fast break opportunity with advantage just because his lazy ass is laying down at the end of the court. That ref manipulation happened last night. We got it so fucked up, our own scorekeepers against us. The Rogers Sportsnet scorekeeper that does the graphic on the TV, they're an asshole. They don't want to give us points. The first basket we made in the game last night was an Emmanuel Quickly 3. What did they do? They put it down as a 2. What the fuck are you doing, scorekeeper? And I even see this is the thing. Other teams, their scorekeeper on their display for their broadcast, they flip that score immediately as soon as it shoots. Our scorekeeper is like waiting. It's like we score a basket and we go down court and it's like 30 seconds later, they flip the score for our points. It's like they don't think we deserve them or we get them. It's such bullshit. Have y'all noticed that? Watch that. And it happens not on TSN, but it happens on Rogers. That's what I'm saying. Rogers Sportsnet is not a friend to the Raptors. They're trying to make they do all kinds of weird, shady, subtle shit. And like taking 1 point away from Emmanuel for a 3-point shot, counting it as a 2. Are y'all trying to piss us off at home? Because we see that. We see what you did, dumbass scorekeeper for a Sportsnet. Whoever handles that graphic, you suck at your job, and you should be faster at switching the score over. Is it Michaud on the sideline? Oh, I'm gonna switch it over. Yeah, whatever. You're horrible at your job either way, Danielle Michaud. And the person who does the score keeping that changes the graphic on the TV, you are absolutely dreadful. Also, you fucking are taking points away from your own team. Seriously, who the fuck are you? And why are you rolling over the Knicks score so fast? You tell on yourself, you bullshit Blue Jays network. There's more Blue Jays in hockey than caring about the Raptors. Brad Fay is a gaslighter, and he can eat shit with his fucking way that he talks down the Raptors in the middle. It's like, oh, the Raptors are in the 5th spot in the playoffs right now. For now, they're saying shit like they're being in the play-in. They're talking our demise. They're talking about our team failing. They're talking about how we're not good enough to beat the Knicks in the middle of the broadcast. Fuck them. Fuck those motherfuckers. Brad Fay, Danielle Michaud, and whoever does the score for Rogers Sportsnet. Yeah, I hated Bills night. Bills night is a loser night. It's a piece of shit theme night. And fuck you, Keith Pelly and Ed Rogers III for making a Bills night at a Raptors game. It's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Seriously. All right, Shaq Lindsay's here. He is a paying member of the channel, so he is in here with me. He said they outplayed us and outcoached us in the fourth. That's the only credit I give them. To the Knicks. Listen, man, that's a smash and grab. And that's their style. In some ways, look, they understand how to close the game out to try and win because they have a very smash and grab style in the fourth quarter. Some people say they clamp it up. They start locking down. That's some truth to that. Maybe in some ways, fucking Brandon being so lackadaisical, dribbling the ball up the court so slow and having an 8-second call on him, that's not unnecessary and stupid. I noticed that too. I was like, Brandon, what the fuck are you doing walking the ball up so casually in this fucking game when Courtney Kirkland said 8 seconds turnover? That shit pissed me off because in some ways, Brandon's an amazing shooter. Brandon's a fantastic offensive NBA player, but he is also lackadaisical and makes silly, stupid mistakes from being lazy and casual too much. Whether it's like not taking care of the ball totally with his spindly turns or fucking slowly walking the ball up the court so slow that he gets an 8-second call on him. It's bullshit. We had fucking a crazy time when they tied us up, Alvarado and a couple guys, and Emmanuel was in trouble. He had to call a timeout or we were going to lose the ball. And then we were inbounding the ball, and RJ couldn't get the ball in time, and it was a fast count. 5-second inbounds violation. This is stupid turnovers. These are turnovers that should not fucking happen to a top-tier team in the NBA. And this is the stuff that's keeping us from beating teams like the Knicks. This shit. And the fact that we can't hit open shots when we get them. Sandro Mamu at the end of the game. This is the thing, man. We got to be that good. We can't have dumb mistakes. We can't have lapses of judgment. We can't have half-ass passes. Shit, you can't pass a chest pass chest to chest. You better put it up high a little bit. Somebody's going to run in and just take it. You're going to pass it like this so casually. Yeah, you're just giving it to them. Every kind of pass they try to do entry to Jakob was messed up. People got in the way, got in the way. Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart. And we try and get the ball to Yak, and we get all screwed up, and it's a turnover. It's not totally Yak's fault. It's just that we're forcing it. We're forcing a pass that isn't there at the wrong time. Shed has a good idea. He wants to get the ball up the court quickly, fast. He throws the ball really fast because he's excited. He throws it too far. It goes flying out of bounds. It's just dumb shit like this that needs to be executed more correctly and more soundly and more with their head straight. Some of it's autopilot, dumbass shit that's causing some of these unnecessary turnovers. And they really hurt us last night. They really, really did. I have admiration for the Raptors keeping it close and battling with them. In fact, we showed with Jakob there and maybe taking care of the ball and doing things a little bit more correctly. We beat them. We can beat them. That's why I'm so mad, because the opportunity was there last night and we didn't take it. We didn't take it. We had the opportunity. We didn't take it, man. They didn't take it. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I listen, they were smart in some ways. Of course, Jalen Brunson's a clutch player. He's the clutch player of the year, as our broadcast kept glazing him about. And he did take over and he did do key things late in the game. But I thought that we guarded Brunson really well for most of the game. Scotty was on him a lot, and he was really, they were guarding him right. They were giving him just the right amount of distance, but you got to really watch out with his weird step and fall back and the way he does all of his mid-range shots and stuff. You got to really stick close to him, and if you don't get right up on him, he just needs a little bit of daylight, and he'll hit that shot and he's money. And the different people that had to guard him, we had mixed results. Scotty was really good on him. Shed and Quickly were chasing him around and doing a pretty good job for the most part. There were lapses where he got a little room and he made his shots. I thought that we did a better job of holding down Bridges and Anunoby. That was one of the stated goals that we wanted for this game. Was that, yeah, Brunson and Cat are going to do a certain amount of damage, but if we can limit the damage of OG and Mikhail, that's good. And I thought that we did kind of execute that part of the plan. There was a couple times where Bridges kind of had a couple of plays that were like, that sucks. But for the most part, I thought we limited those secondary Knicks better than we have in games earlier this season. So, there was a lot of improvements and there's a lot of stuff, but there's also a lot of stupid shit. And I just don't like how happy and cocky the Knicks get at the end of the game with their hand gestures and their fucking smiles and their bullshit. In some ways, it pisses me off. And I really wanted RJ and Emmanuel to get them finally this time, but it didn't happen. And that's just how it is. Shaq Lindsay saying their bench gave them 24 points. Ours gave us 8. Yeah, this is dreadfully dismal. You're right. This is something I was going to point out. I'm sorry, but it's important that we draft players that don't shy away from the moment. Also, love Jacoby, but how do you put up 0 in 18 minutes? Also, Shed and Sandro have been a great since the trade deadline, but these past couple games, they've been shit. That's part of the design by the other team is like, the Knicks are scrappy team defense that really are hard to score against. And that's why guys like Scotty and Brandon and RJ that are our premium offensive players are the guys who have the most success against them. Whether it's Scotty just using his brute force to try and score, he could have tried to score more. In some ways, I would have loved Scotty to try and take over the game more at the end. Brandon doing pretty solid scoring throughout the whole game. RJ waking up at different times and doing some really interesting stuff in traffic with guys on his back and making really like crowded shots. But a lot of our guys on our team aren't skilled enough to score against this Knicks defense because it's really hard to score against. You have to be a premium one-on-one player like Brandon. You have to have a premium strength or size combination like Scotty, or you have to be a very heady, smart player that knows how to weave his way through it like RJ. It's not a coincidence that Emmanuel had a bad shooting night last night too, because this is the Knicks defense. They take everybody away from it. If you do not have the ability to go against that pressure and that contact and that physicality, it is really hard to score. Because the other thing is, like, if we don't shoot well from outside, which we don't, we go inside, we're getting pushed, we're getting bumped, and you have to, like the broadcast said last night, you have to finish through contact. And a lot of our guys aren't good at finishing through contact. That's why they miss easy shots up close. This is why we get 8 points off the bench. This is why we don't get any scoring support for our main guys, the starters, who are doing all the heavy lifting. So, I mean, that's what it is. The Knicks are a buzzsaw on defense, and they're allowed to because of, once again, reputation. The NBA referees are saying, well, that's the Knicks. That's their style. They get away with a bit more because of their reputation. And that's part of it right there. That's part of it. The phenomena of the bench not being able to score against them. Shaq Lindsay's also saying, we miss Colin Murray-Boyles. He definitely could have helped if we were replacing Dick with Battle. Please explain to me how that's an upgrade. Okay. Well, Battle's bigger than Dick. He's a better rebounder, and he can hold his weight better around in the paint against power forwards and possibly centers. Grady cannot guard a 4 or 5, but Jamison can at least be a doorstop against a 4 or 5, and he can use a little bit more physicality to hold them. Battle's done a great job of building his muscles up and being a bigger player since we signed him as an undrafted guy. And that's a big part of it right there. Now, Battle is not getting a lot of shot opportunities. I didn't see him hardly shoot any threes last night, but he didn't get a whole lot of time on the court either. And they did do what I was expecting yesterday, where they did a shortened rotation of really an 8-man rotation. Battle was the ninth guy, and he played like what, 8 minutes, barely. So they really did go into a playoff rotation with really just Sandro, Jacoby, and Shed off the bench. And in some ways, that's part of the reason why we didn't have a lot of bench scoring also, is that there weren't a lot of whole minutes played by the bench. The starters played heavy minutes in this game. And, with us only playing Minnesota tomorrow, and really that's the only 2 games this whole entire week with so many days off, I'm not faulting Darko for going all out and playing the starters heavy last night, because this is the kind of game to do it. So I'll go ahead and do the stars of the game. I have 3 stars for the Raptors in the loss. My number 1 star is Brandon. Brandon was the leading scorer. He was just electric at times. He was taking some contact and finishing through, which is what I was talking about. 37 minutes for Brandon Ingram, 31 points, 11 of 20 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3, 6 of 7 at the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers, a steal, and a block, a -7. My knocks on Brandon are just stop being lackadaisical, stop having silly turnovers, whether it's dribbling the ball off your foot, whether it's not getting across the half court line in time, whether it's being just too casual. In some ways, I know your demeanor and your energy is just like that in your life because you have you're just that kind of dude. I get that. I can be like that myself. But in some ways, this is different, man. You got to raise the alarm. And there has to be a frenetic, energetic, on emergency Brandon Ingram that has to show up. That's a different level of execution and attention to detail. And in some ways, Brandon, you got to stop being so casual. There's casualness in your game that if you fix that, you will fucking be even another level of player at another level. In some ways, this is something like Siakam I would talk about a couple years ago. I want you to wake up at the end of the game and have the wherewithal and the determination to take the game over and win it yourself. I wanted Siakam to elevate and graduate to that, and he has since he's gone to Indiana. And the early signs of it were on the Raptors before he went to Indiana. But Brandon, we need you to do that too. We need you. And he kind of alluded this after the game. He said that the difference in the game, and this may be a weird shot at the team in a certain way, was that the Knicks did a good job of getting the ball to their closers, their best players to shoot the shots at the end of the game. And that's Brunson and Cat. And he's saying that the Raptors maybe didn't work the ball to him in the right way at the end of the game. They didn't execute the game plan because he thinks that the best scorers on our team should have had the ball at the end to score. Well, Brandon, we let you get a corner shot in the last game to tie the game, and you bricked it off the side of the backboard. And there are times when we give you the ball in the last 3 minutes of game, and you turn the ball over just inexplicably because you're not taking care of the ball correctly. So I get what you're saying, and you know what, that part of it is that the Knicks have way more experience in playoffs and also in these high pressure situations that they know what to do off of each other. And in some ways, we're still learning what to do off each other to execute and get the right outcome. And it sucks. It sucks. Yeah, Brandon Ingram, my number 1 star, even with some of my frustrations with him. Second star of the game is RJ. RJ was in there battling, man. He wanted this game bad. Man, I love RJ so much. The way he was scoring in the second half was just top notch. And I loved him and Emmanuel taking over in the beginning of the fourth. And in some ways, I could watch the game through Knicks fans' eyes, and they could say, you know what? These guys are getting better. I mean, any Knicks fans being honest with himself, you watched Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett. They have changed since they were on your team. And in some ways, they've changed for the better. And you should be honestly admitting that. Whether you see RJ working harder on defense and being more effective, whether you see Emmanuel looking more like a true point guard and not playing so wild like he used to. They've improved. They've gotten better as players. And any being honest with themselves, Knicks fan will have to admit that, you know? RJ, 37 minutes, 20 points, 9 of 13, 1 of 3 from 3, 1 of 2 at the free throw line. He had to miss one of the free throws. 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, minus 16. I just like the forceful way that RJ was taking it to the basket and making his little shots with all that traffic around him. Do you guys understand how hard that is? Seriously, with Mitchell Robinson and Cat and Josh Hart and those guys hanging around out there, for RJ to get in there. In some ways, he's doing the Steph Curry move where you get the defender on your back and they kind of push you down the lane and you make the little layup. You know, there's some really masterful offensive skill that RJ put on display last night. And I appreciate him for it. And I was mad like him. When I see, that's the thing. I feel the emotions of the players. And if they really, really wanted it, if they were annoyed and pissed off that they did not win this game last night, I'm with them. I'm with them. And they were annoyed. I'm telling you right now, RJ wanted this one bad. I'm sure he's sick of hearing all the bullshit, getting reels from Josh Hart. They're stupid and all kinds of stuff. And our own broadcasting him trolling us. What the fuck is that, Danielle Michaud? What the fuck is that? You think it's funny? It's stupid? We're not a joke. The Raptors are not a joke. And you broadcasting the other team trolling us. And once again, read the room. We're in a violent world full of gun violence and people dying by bullets and guns every day. Put in front and center, bang, bang with this. Like, this is not what the NBA wants. They're going to fine Ja Morant for making guns gestures. Why the fuck didn't they fine Josh Hart for that shit? And meanwhile, Rogers Sportsnet makes it lives on a month later by fucking bringing it back around and putting it up on our broadcast. We need to forget that shit. You need to cut that footage and burn it and bury it in the ground. Why the fuck would you dig it up and play it in the next game? Are you for the Raptors and broadcasting for the fans of the Raptors? Or are you fucking gaslighting us, piece of shit, Rogers Sportsnet fucking channel? Seriously, what the fuck is that? My third star of the game is Scotty Barnes. Scotty could have scored more. This is funny, man. Stevie Roots, he texted me before the game. He said, I need Scotty to get 15 points for my parlay. I'm like, motherfucker, that's your own damn fault. You never bet on NBA players' individual bets. Why would you do that, you dumbass? Scotty got 14 points. He didn't get 15. Scotty did not help Steve win his parlay ticket because, Steve, you shouldn't be fucking making individual prop bets yourself. Now, Steve, are you mad at Scotty Barnes because he didn't get one more point? Are you mad at him for that because Courtney Kirkland didn't give him all the free throws he should have? Because he could have gotten one more point if Courtney Kirkland would fucking respect the two-time All-Star Scotty Barnes is, and some of the drives where he was going to the basket, no call, and he should have had a foul. We saw that shit happen. Yeah, and there was ref manipulation in that sense where it's like, okay, they're not going to respect when we're getting fouled sometimes, and we're not going to get all the free throws that we should get. Scotty, 36 minutes, 14 points, Steve. Didn't get that 15. 5 of 9 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, 3 of 3 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 3 steals, and a block. -2 for Scott. It wasn't that bad when Scott was out there, only a -2. And man, the margin was so close. I mean, we did a good job coming back on them in the third quarter, but only scoring 13 points in the fourth. That's dismal and bad. And I hate when Matt Devlin's saying stuff. The Raptors have not scored since 5:08 mark in the quarter. I'm like, I hate that kind of shit. I hate when that stuff happens, when they say we're stagnant and we're not scoring. I feel like that's part of the gaslighting and the stupid ass shit that the Raptors go through. Honorable mention to Jakob Poeltl. 30 minutes, 9 points, 4 of 6 shooting, 1 of 1 at the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 2 turnovers, a -10. He also had a block. Yak's coming back more and more, rounding into things, and he's just so great. In some ways, he helps the Raptors get better shots from being that door out there that they can run around to screen people off. And man, he's such a high-level thing. And plus that emergency valve, dump him off for the little push shot next to the basket. That's fantastic. And of course, Emmanuel and him are working so well with their chemistry. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing, Yak. I wish we could have gotten more shots for you yesterday, maybe. and maybe a couple more rebounds. But he had a big task of trying to match up with Mitchell Robinson and hold him off of the offensive boards. And he did what he can. So honorable mention to Jakob Poeltl. Also, Emmanuel Quickly in the starting lineup had a bad shooting night, but he did get a double-double, guys. 33 minutes for IQ, 13 points on 4 of 14 shooting, 3 of 10 from 3, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 12 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, a -9. Yeah, Manuel could have shot better. In some ways, I thought that, he had a lot on his table with, because there's obviously him and RJ want to beat their former team. Seriously. And they had a lot of aggressive energy at the fourth to try and make that happen. Alas, it wasn't sustaining. Darko's talked about this after the game in his press conference. The Raptors played a good 45 minutes is what he said. We played perfect we didn't play perfect, but we played good for 45 minutes. And the 3 minutes at the end, we screwed up and everything fell apart. Scotty got fouled and he's pissed off at Courtney Kirkland. He's yelling at Courtney Kirkland. And meanwhile, Josh Hart's running a layup down the court for an easy basket and the game's close. And we're at the end of the game. So it's like the cardinal sin of turning and arguing with the ref instead of getting back on defense was right at the end of the game. I saw that and I was like so pissed. In some ways, that's devious. It's like we won't call the foul on you. You're going to get pissed off. And the other team's going to run down and start scoring. And then they just started hitting everything. And they didn't even stop. Like Josh Hart hit a 3 near the end of the game that he didn't need to take, just running up the score. That's the cocky ass shit that I'm talking about, man. Cocky ass shit in the way they act. Man, they're going to get what they deserve. It's going to circle around to them. Trust me. And, you can act like this. I mean, in some ways, y'all acting like this, not being humble. And this is what people say. You should always be humble. The Knicks aren't humble. They will be humbled, though, before the end of the season. I don't see them holding up no Larry O'Brien. I see them getting humbled by one of the other teams in the league and being put out once again. Because when you have that arrogance and that kind of energy around you, basketball gods out there want to punish you at some point. And Knicks Nation, Knicks players, you're going to get it. You're going to get it because in some ways, y'all are a little bit too cocky and a little bit too arrogant and a little bit too asshole-ish. Let's just put it that way. And that energy gets rewarded with failure and losing. But in the end, you may feel high and mighty and great in certain ways, but trust me, that's what's coming for y'all in the end because it has last year and all the other years since 73. Sandro Mamukelashvili, 16 minutes, only 4 points, 1 of 6 from the field. Yeah, he's having a shooting slump for sure. We were so expecting Sandro just to pencil him in for at least double digits and, some threes and just some really good active offense. But yeah, Sandro is off. You can honestly say he was off. 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, -2. Yeah. We had Jamison out there for 5 minutes. He didn't take a single shot. He didn't get a single stat. And the Raptors were outscored by 11 when Jamison was on the court. Jamal Shed, 4 points on 1 of 4 shooting, 0 of 2 from 3. He made 2 free throws, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, and a -9. Yeah, we could have had more production by the bench, obviously, for sure. And Shaq Lindsey is exactly right to point out the difference between the bench production of the Knicks with guys like Landry Shamet and then the point production of the Raptors. And once again, I'm going to say this right now. This is a strategy of Mike Brown and the Knicks that they decide that this is what they want. They want, we get it. We're going to have Brandon's going to do certain stuff we cannot guard. Scotty's going to do certain things that are just big boy stuff that we can't totally stop. RJ may pop up and do this. Emmanuel may get these threes here this way, but we're damn for sure not going to let Jacoby, Jamal, Sandro, or any of the other guys do jack shit to help the Raptors. And that's one of the ways that they can try and win the game is by limiting everybody else. Jacoby Walter, 18 minutes, 0 points, as Shaq Lindsey pointed out. All 3 of his shots were threes, and he missed all 3 of them. 1 rebound, 2 steals, a -14 for number 14. Yeah, it's just tough, man. That's part of the learning curve. Those 2 guys were rookies last year, Shed and Walter, and they're sophomores. And there's new levels of learning, new higher levels of the video game. And the bosses, the big bosses, and the people you fight in the video game as levels go up are harder. And well, they're finding new levels of compete in the NBA, then they have to do better to excel and defeat it. So yeah, we got garbage time for 5 guys, came in for played for 1 minute, and they didn't do jack shit. They didn't score or lose or anything. It was TJD, Jonathan Mobo, AJ Lawson, Elijah Martin, and Grady Dick all got an appearance. So Grady got in there, and he can be officially another loss to the Knicks in his career. He's never beaten the Knicks. And well, he didn't really get a chance to try to beat them coming in for the last part of the game. Yeah, on the other side, I'll give a little bit of credit. Jalen Brunson is that kind of clutch guy with a double-double, 26 and 10. Cat with also a double-double, 21 and 12 on rebounds. Yeah, those 2 guys were the main guys. And like I said, we did a good job. We held OG to 15. He was a problem at times. Scotty was guarding him a bit. Mikal Bridges, only 11. He got 30 against us last game. Josh Hart, 12 points. Off the bench, Landry Shamet was a bit annoying, getting his 12 points and outscoring the Raptors bench by himself. So yeah, it sucks. Team stats. Well, let's see. They beat us in a lot of categories. They beat us shooting wise, 57%. They shot a very high percentage. And that right there shows that our Raptors defense is not allowed to get into them like they're allowed to get into us. That's a difference right there. Courtney Kirkland, John Butler, Evan Scott, they touchy with the Raptors getting physical with the Knicks, but the Knicks are allowed to be physical with the Raptors. And that could be one of the direct contributions to the discrepancy in the shot percentage. Is 57%. Well, we get our nuts shot off in the beginning of the game because Courtney Kirkland calls quick fouls on our team to train us that this is how it is for us. Meanwhile, the other team can claw and hit us and do all kinds of stuff. And we're lucky if they blow the whistle. That's the difference in shooting percentage right there. 45% for us, 57 for them. Yeah. And then 3-pointers. They made 2 more than us, 10 for them and 8 for us. The free throw line, we did get 7 more free throws than them, and we did make 8 more free throws than them. So that was one area that we were able to beat them in, was the free throw line. Rebounds, they out-rebounded the hell out of us, 43-28. Some of it is, like they were saying in the broadcast, against the Knicks, you got to really box out your guy. And I like how the Raptors played one-on-one last night, defense. They didn't play a zone. They were linking guys up with their counterparts and chasing them around on the court, and that made more sense than playing a zone. In some ways, that was smart because you could actually have the right kind of guys to match up size and speed-wise with the players on the Knicks. And most of the time, it worked. It worked pretty well at times, the one-on-one defense. It's just when the Knicks would do switches and screens and they'd get their guy away and they'd be closer to the basket away from their defender. They got some slip layups from doing some of the stuff from the one-on-one. But for the most part, I thought the one-on-one defense was the right decision because it was effective in a lot of ways during the game, for sure. But yeah, rebounds, 43 for the Knicks and 28 for us. That's a huge battle that we lost, and that's totally going to help them win. Mitchell Robinson's a huge factor, and I think it says a lot. Like reasoning they had for this, because like Robinson doesn't play back to backs, right? And they're playing tonight in New York against the Thunder. They came back. They're going straight home to play the Thunder tonight, the Knicks. They decided to play Robinson against us and not Hartenstein and the Thunder. That's weird to me. Now, Mike Brown's reasoning was we're a division opponent and we have reasoning with the playoffs, but that doesn't make any sense. You've already won the season series against us. You've already beaten us for the year, 3 games out of 5. You didn't need the 4th game to beat us in the season series. So in some ways, your strategy of using Mitchell Robinson against the Raptors on the first night of back-to-back instead of the second night against the Thunder is stupid. And there may be Knicks fans and Knick Nation kind of questioning that. It's like, why do we use Mitch against the Raptors? We need him against Hartenstein and the Thunder. That don't make no sense to me. Why do you do that? Maybe because the NBA told them, yeah, you have to beat the Raptors. You have to. Maybe James Dolan told them, I hate the Raptors so much. We sued them. I did not win that lawsuit, but I hate them so much. I don't want to lose to them ever. I mean, there's all kinds of energy that's coming from the main office of the NBA, coming from the NBA in general, coming from our broadcast, the Sportsnet, that hates us and has to have us lose to the Knicks no matter what. And I hate it. I hate this shit. And I feel like it's a very heavy manipulation on a deep, deep level. It's with the schedule makers, it's with the NBA head office, it's with James Dolan and his organization, it's with the referees. They're all in conjunction to help get this crazy ass win streak like this. Seriously. To an extent, the Knicks play better than us and they're a better team, but they are being propped up and helped also by a whole apparatus. Whether it's the fact that we played the Knicks on the second night of a back-to-back, a lot of the games this year, played them on the first game back from a long West Coast road trip, played them on a weird ass, fucked up, dumbass Bills night like last night. Yeah. Assist to turnover ratio in the game, 32 to 18 for the Knicks. So not quite a 2-to-1 ratio for them, and 24 to 15 for us. Not quite a 2-to-1 ratio, but they have more numbers. We have only 24 assists, and they got 32 assists. They got more fast break points than us. That sucks. That's them getting the ball, the loose that they said after the game. Darko said that the other team did a better job at getting to loose balls sometimes. There were convoluted plays. Like, remember that play where Jakob had the ball on the ground and Mitchell Robinson put his arms around him? That should have been a foul. That is exactly what Alvin Williams said. And the referees called a jump ball. That's a ref manipulation right there. That should have been our possession. There's all kinds of little subtle, weird ass ref calls that are kind of fucked up and weird. Like, we win a challenge. And, I don't agree with the fact that they do jump balls after challenges. They say, oh, possession wasn't imminent for someone. Bullshit. If they go and they try and score and it's a fake foul, first of all, which was on Sandro. Sandro said that he got all ball, and we call the challenge. They go and review it, and they say, oh, yeah, he did get all ball. So there's no call on the play. Instead of making it a jump ball, you should just act like their possession's over because it's dead and just give us the fucking ball and go the other way. Partly because we won the challenge. It's one of the stupidest things that annoys me. And I thought that was a risky ass challenge by Darko because it's the first half and on a foul. And often on fouls, those are the hardest ones to get a successful challenge. But he did. And he saved his challenge for later. He didn't use it later, though. But that's so risky, man. And in some ways, I was like, don't use the challenge right now. Just who cares? But he did, and we got the possession. But what does the possession get us? It saves us a foul on Sandro, and then we're jumping the ball in the center of the court. Now, granted, Scotty did win the jump ball against Mitchell Robinson, and we did keep possession after all. But that doesn't make sense to me. In some ways, if you win the challenge, you should just get possession of the ball. That should be part of the rules in the NBA. That's how I feel about it. Yeah. Let's see. And also, the fouls were 2 more fouls for them. They didn't call a lot of fouls. That's another thing about this game is they'll let them play physically, but they, like I said, they trained Scott at the beginning of the game, said, look, you're not going to be able to play the same physicality as the Knicks. We're going to call it on you right away. And you saw that immediately at the beginning of the game. Immediately. They're like, this is where your electric fence is, Scott, as far as you can't run this far out. Meanwhile, they don't have the collar for the electric fence. They're running all out in the field beyond where you can run. That's kind of what that is. All right, there's the box score for the game with the Knicks and the bullshit. The Knicks and the bullshit. That's right. That's right. All right, let me see. We keep going in the chat. All right. Yeah, we got about 45 minutes, and I want to get out of here, guys. We've got a bit done because the 905 are playing at 11. That's right. That's right. All right, let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying, whatever happened to making Scotty our number one and running the plays through him? Why the F? Sorry for my language. Is BI bringing up the ball? And why are we running plays off of him? BI is a good passer, but reluctant in the fourth. Scotty's never intended to be our number one. No, he's not that type of player. It's not going to be like that. I mean, if he's a number one, he's a number one like Magic Johnson. And if you know Magic Johnson from his career, he was really a point guard who gave the ball to everybody else. In some ways, he's a number one like Jason Kidd's a number one. Think about Jason Kidd. Is he a number one on his teams? No. He's setting up Jamal Mashburn and Jimmy Jackson and people like that. You know, he's setting up Mari Stoudemire. He's setting up these other guys. That's who Scott is. He's a facilitator. He's a playmaker. And he shies away. I wish he'd score more. It's part of his psychology. I wish he had that number one mentality and he'd do that. I wish he had a gear that he could shift into where he could get to that. And he might still develop that. But that's not who he is. He's going to be this guy that's all around. He's going to play very hard on defense and he's going to pass the ball. And his offense, in some ways, is like his third thought, his own offense. I wish he would. He could be the most powerful, unstoppable player on our team, even beyond Brandon. But it's not his psychology. He's a giving person, and he's in that world of Jason Kidd and Irvin Johnson. And that's what it is. So he's not our number one. Brandon is our number one, and RJ's probably our number two, and Emmanuel's probably our number three, and Scotty's like our number four, which is his number he wears. So yeah, it is what it is. This lack of offense creation allows teams to play us better in the fourth. Yeah, we have issues. Like, it's the thing. Every team is like a puzzle for the other team to figure out. We have a glaring weakness that is easy to exploit before we even show up on the court. And that is that we're known for not hitting our open shots or having any 3-point shooting. This is why Grady Dick is starting to get into the category of Malachi Flynn to me. Because the knock on Flynn when he was on our team was he was our backup point guard, but we had no bench because he was not a leader that got good things off his teammates. And he was a selfish shooting guard masquerading as a point guard, and he couldn't even shoot his shot himself. And this is the failures that are similar to Grady Dick. Grady Dick, you're supposed to be our 3-point shooting, but you've absolutely failed this year. And your lack of your contribution in your department has hurt our team overall and the game strategies of the other team and their defense and what they can do and what they don't have to worry about and what they can ignore. Sure, you're just the lightning rod, and there's other guys that are also at fault. But I look at you as the symbolic person that has done this year and not coming through with your job and your job description. And sure, to a lesser extent, I can blame Jamison Battle for not being as money as he was in his rookie year this year. You know, we can blame different Raptors for not hitting their 3-point shots and being better 3-point shooters. Sure. Open shots need to be going in the NBA. And, well, when you don't have a team that's known for this or is bottom in the league ranked, the other team knows that. And in some ways, that helps them game their game plan in other ways so that they can really get the best out of it. You know, that's what this is, man. That's what this is. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Wednesday. Brandon was solid the whole game. RJ and IQ showed up in the fourth. Our defense was meh most of the game. Not sure what happened. Silly turnovers as well. Well, they guarded. The referees told us we couldn't play the same way as them right away at the beginning of the game. Like I said, they called quick fouls on us right away to set the tone of how touchy they may be towards us. Meanwhile, like I said, it wasn't exactly even on both sides. The Knicks are allowed to mug you like they're on a street corner in New York City. You know, that's the big difference right there. They're training Scott to watch out immediately with a 5-second foul into the game. Like it's 11:50 on the clock, and Scotty's got his first foul already, like right off the bat. That is by design. That's a classic ref manipulation trick. They did this shit to Fred. Remember in the Philadelphia series that we lost to Philadelphia the last time we played them in the playoffs. They threw 2 quick fouls on Fred VanVleet in the first 30 seconds of the crucial playoff game, and he was out for the rest of the game. You know, so you got to think about that. Scotty gets a foul right away, 5 seconds in the game. He gets a second foul, and that shapes his ability to play the whole entire rest of the game because now Darko's worried about foul trouble for him, and they're taking him to the bench. So he may have came out with aggressive, intense defense that he wanted to play with. The ref said, no, 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 and he had to dial it back, and that's the difference right there. It's just like what I just said. There's 2 different dogs in the yard. One has the collar around his neck that triggers the invisible fence. The other one doesn't. And the invisible fence is the referees. And Scotty's got that collar around his neck, and he's not allowed to run out of the yard like Josh Hart is. And that's the difference right there. Yeah, very silly turnovers that need to be. That's the thing, that frustrates me, but that is positive because these are things that they can make better and do better with. It's just frustrating to think, Brandon's been in this league for 10 years. He should fucking know 8 seconds to get across the line. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it was because he was too casual about it. And the referees didn't like that. It was like, bro, we're in an NBA game. We're not all standing around here just waiting for you to like sloppily walk up the court slow as fuck. That in some ways they were like, oh, 8 seconds. She didn't get across the line. Meanwhile, Shed's fighting his ass off with Brunson, trying to hold him on the other side of the line to get 8 second call on him, you know. And meanwhile, our guy's lazily just kind of walking up, and then he doesn't even get across. He's right there at the line. If he could have just sped up his feet just a little bit more, he'd be across the line. There wouldn't have been a turnover at that point. And it's a dumb, crucial time in the game where we didn't need that turnover at all. And I hope they look at that film and say something to him, because even though he's a veteran, he's been in this league, he's a two-time All-Star, he's our best offensive weapon. He needs to be called out for that. And Darko needs to say, Brandon, you can't do this. You got to up the pace. You can't be fucking giving us a dumb turnover just because you didn't get across the half court line by 8 seconds. You know, silly turnover, silly turnover. Shed struggling in the first quarter as well. Shed, to me, this is the thing I have to remember with Shed. He's an ordinary human being. He's not superhuman. Shed may be amazing, like with his IQ for playing in the NBA, and really astute defensive player and leadership and really all kinds of stuff. But he is mediocre at some things that you do in the NBA, and passing's one of them. It's not like Shed is a super great passer. He's a mediocre passer. And part of it is that he causes too many turnovers because he's lackadaisical and he throws half-ass, not strong enough passes. Like I said, he did a chest pass to chest. That's like ground level, easy pickoff thing. You got to be more creative. You got to be more diverting. And in some ways, y'all are too predictable with your schemes of swinging the ball across court. And lane jumpers are going to jump in there and just steal the ball when they understand your pattern. And that's happening in a lot of games too recently against Spurs and Thunder and Knicks, is that, they know our patterns for when we're going to pass. And it's easy for a quick stealer to just jump in the passing lane, steal the ball, and they're running down the court with a fast break. That's why we have to be a little bit more smarter with taking care of the ball. And Shed could improve his game immensely this offseason if he really thought about point guard duties and taking care of the ball and protecting it. And that means not just with your dribble and dribbling around. That means with how you pass the ball and move the ball around in the offense. Because there's been too many times this year where Shed has passed a half-ass pass that was either too soft or too chest level or too like directly to the other team, that boom, they're off and running, and we've got a fast break for the other team coming down against us. And that's an area he improves on. He can be an even better NBA player. And he can improve in this area. It's just that it's not one of his strong suits. It's just like he's trying to improve his three-point shot to make it more often. And he put a lot of work into it last summer, and it worked. And he's been a better three-point shooter this year. But he needs to work on that other stuff. And this is getting around to the original thing that Darko had a problem with him in his rookie year. You can't turn the ball over, Jamal. You have to be perfect. You have to play point guard, and you cannot turn the ball over. He's got to figure out where he's getting into trouble with that. Shaq Lindsay's saying this: Darko needs to go back to making Scotty the alpha on the court. Everybody will follow because Scotty is that guy on offense and defense. Well, we know recently Scotty's been hurt. He's been playing a little bit on one leg with a leg contusion. And, he's not totally 100% healthy, but I'm happy that he went from questionable to playing. And honestly, he looked like he was moving better than he was last week. So, on the down low, he's recuperating from a nasty leg contusion he got playing against the Thunder when he ran into Isaiah Hartenstein. And, I saw signs of him moving much better last night with less pain and looking more like the normal Scott. So, I don't know. This is like Darko is not going to do this, and Scotty doesn't want this. You may want this, and I may want this, but this doesn't mean they're going to do it. because in some ways for the barbecue yak, the notorious barbecue yak lineup to work, it has to be this hierarchy to a certain extent. I want to see a special case where we do see this, where Scotty's absolutely selfish. He goes for 40 points and gets a triple double and absolutely carries our team to win. I want to see this happen, but it doesn't happen first thing against the Knicks. It's got to be something like we play the Pacers or one of the worst teams in the league, and Scotty goes off and gets 40 against a bad team first, and then he practices that, and then eventually down the road he can do it against the top teams at the top of the standings. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, this whole thing about they're making this such a big deal, and they're trying to say that some people are using the C word, which is absolutely overreaction. Some people are talking trash about us that we can't beat the best teams in the league, including our Rogers Sportsnet broadcast crew assholes. I would say this: it's just that we are taking care of the really bad teams, and we have a good record against them. We have a good record. We're not there against these top teams yet, but when we are, look out. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Seriously. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercely saying we will beat them as well as the top teams. Baby steps. We're still fifth as Sixers got a beat down from the Spurs. Yeah, they got beat down bad. Looking at the standings this morning, they got beat down bad by like how many points? By 40 points. They got beat by 40. That's crazy. Yeah, so we're still 2 full games against the Sixers above, and that's good. And I'd like to get closer to the Cavs, but it's not looking like it's moving that direction. We have a new NBA ESPN power rankings, and we have dropped from 10th place to 11th, just one spot. And they're saying this about us this morning. Toronto's most important goal over the next 6 weeks is retaining a top 6 seed, as ESPN's basketball power index gives the Raptors about a 1 in 3 chance of falling to the play-in tournament. That's annoying, man. See, they're everybody's plotting our demise. Whether it's ESPN, Rogers Sportsnet broadcast crew, they're saying, "Oh, we're focusing on y'all falling into the play-in." You know, do they do that to these other fucking Eastern Conference teams? Are they focusing on the Sixers falling in the play-in because of Charlotte? Do they talk about it that way? Because they're closer to falling in the play-in than we are. But no, is it just us that they say, "Oh, we're broadcasting failure and the Raptors falling out of a playoff spot in the play-in"? Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. So it's a 1 in 3 chance of falling in the play-in. That's good. This 2 out of 3 chance we're not going to. Wins at home against Orlando on March the 29th and Miami in a 2-game series on April 7th and 9th would go a long way towards ensuring Toronto gets an automatic bid to the first round of the playoffs. Yeah. Yeah, because we don't want to be in the play-in. We've worked too hard this season. We've been high up in the Eastern standings at different times, and we're still up near there. Yeah, we don't want to do this. So the ESPN saying the important games are going to be Orlando and Miami going out because they're below us in some ways. That's Zach Cram that wrote that bullshit. They got the Sixers right below us. I don't understand that. They're hurt. That's so stupid, man. All right, let me keep going. I want to wrap up pretty soon, so I'll get through the comments. Please cut off your comments, and we'll talk about this some more over time. Shaq Lindsay saying, "Do you think Yak's return is having an effect on Sandro's game?" Not a bad effect. I think that Sandro has played out of his mind this season. I think that he's gone above and beyond. He's earned a contract this summer coming up. It's going to be a good contract. In some ways, it has nothing to do with Yak. It's just the ups and downs of the season. He's going through a mini slump. So it's nothing to do with Yak. I think that Sandro has gone through ups and downs this season on the down low already. Remember, he came out really hot, shooting 3 at the beginning of the season. Then there was a part in the fall where he couldn't hit his threes, and then it came back around again. It's just the wave of ups and downs the NBA player goes through, and Sandro's a little bit on a down right now. But he could have an up starting in the next game and start building it back up there. But I don't think it has anything to do with Jakob. I really don't. In fact, I like the Mamu Yak lineups when they're out there, the double bigs. And we could have probably done that at times last night when they were doing Cat Robinson lineups. You know, that was interesting when they were playing both their big guys out there. Neil's here. Good morning to Blackhawk. Thanks for supporting the channel, guys. This is a members only stream today. Scotty scoring more would not change the end result because our rebounding was horrible and 13 turnovers is a hit to our possession game. Bench was non existent. IQ needed better efficiency. 40% is the minimum efficiency you want to have on the court. Anyone below 40% needs to reflect on their performance. Coaching staff needs to get back on the team for rebounding. Well, it's gang rebounding when you play the Knicks. In some ways, you got to have maybe two guys around Robinson. The most important thing is like because they have such swoopers and telegraphers like Josh Hart that if the ball comes off the basket on a rebound and nobody's there to get it, they're quick to go get it. And we need people to be more attentive to that. Like, I wish more of our really smart players would telegraph more and go to the spots to go get it. Start thinking like Dennis Rodman and start telegraphing. Well, the ball's trajectory hits the rim here. It's going to bounce in this direction and this far. And you can kind of gauge where it is. The best rebounders do this. So maybe we need some drills or thinking about this philosophy more on our team because Josh Hart thinks this way. I'll tell you that. And if somebody's guarding Josh Hart on defense, they have to grab him and make sure that they're boxing him out wherever he is because he's going to come running towards wherever the loose ball is. And that's part of the problem is finding your man and stopping them from going to get the ball before we get it. That's part of the problem right there. And that is definitely something we can improve is finding our guy and boxing out and making sure that we establish the end of the defensive possession, which is the rebound. The other thing that we have to give credit to the Knicks and beating us is their effort. These guys are a multi-effort team. They don't give up on the first try. They're going at you relentlessly. And they may mess up and not get it this time, but they're going to try again, and they're going to try again, and they're going to try again. And until they get the ball, until they get this or that, they're going to keep trying. And sometimes our Raptors are doing one effort, and that's it. They're not trying again. That's the difference in how you can get beat on the court, out hustled, is because you're not putting second, third, fourth effort on different things like loose balls, rebounds, and playing certain ways. And that's something we could definitely improve. They're going to be relentless with their effort. You have to match that. You have to match that. Shaq Lindsay saying this: sometimes BI's success can also be a detriment to the team's performance on offense. We need to go back to moving the ball on offense. I agree with this, Scott. I agree with this. I think that that's true. I think that in some ways, just like with Siakam in the past, we can stagnate our offense by being too predictable. And we see in the way teams try to deny Brandon getting the ball or doubling him or crowding him, that they understand the scouting report on how to stymie that. That's why I've been a big advocate in recent weeks that we use Brandon off ball more than on ball, because in some ways he gets better, higher percentage shots if the ball's not going through him. But at the same time, if we're stuck in a half court offense, our most reliable source to score on a possession is throwing the ball to Brandon in the mid post and making him let him go to work. So it's a tough catch-22. In some ways, it's our best weapon. Everybody knows that, and they'll game for it. But also still, in a half-court set, it's hard to derive your offense and getting a good shot. But Brandon has a way of doing that. And in some ways, maybe we overuse it. Yeah, maybe we do. Neil's saying Scotty can't guard everyone. Someone else has to step up and take some of the load off of Scotty. Yeah, he had to switch from different guys, like – it's good to have Yak out there because then Scotty's not having to guard Cat so much. And that was part of the problem with this series with the Knicks earlier this year is a lot of games when Yak isn't there, Scotty has to play Cat. And that takes him away from trying to guard people like OG or Mikhail or Jalen. And and Scotty could do a good job on Jalen Brunson. He can tidy him up to an extent. But when Jakob's not available, he has to go and mess around with Towns. And, well, that's the great thing about having Yak there. Well, that wasn't happening. And now we saw Scotty getting to guard other Knicks more, like Jalen Brunson, which was good. So it was very, very good. Neil's saying Scotty guarded Brunson well, but I would prefer RJ or another 6'6" player to take on Brunson. Jacoby was not doing well on Brunson. I think the natural person for RJ to chase is Josh Hart. I think that that's the right matchup. And I think that Brandon should be on Mikhail because he's got that long arm kind of like fastness with him. He's a little bit taller than him. And then, if Jakob's out there, he can take Cat, and that means Scott can take Brunson because or OG. OG's a good matchup for him to play against too. But yeah, and Emmanuel, he can get beat by Brunson. Yeah. This is something that he, and Shed too. But they're trying their ass off. And as long as they chase him and go around all the picks they set and try and keep up with him and just kind of keep a hand near his face, they can kind of disrupt the shot. Okay. The two guards, Quick and Shed. But no, the natural those that's the natural matchups that it should be is Mikhail and Brandon, RJ on Josh Hart, and Scotty's kind of a rover. Pick between Brunson or OG, or maybe he's guarding Cat on a certain possession because of a switch with Jakob off of him. Stuff like that. Let's see. Fiercely saying Sportsnet is trash. TSN also annoying at times, but overall much better. Yeah, TSN is way, way better. I've always thought that. It's just that the TSN people actually respect and love the team to an extent. Leo can be a curmudgeon, but he absolutely cares about the Raptors doing better and being successful. I know at this point. When he was earlier and younger, doing the broadcast, sometimes he was really mean to the team, and I would even wonder if he even liked the Toronto Raptors. But it's obvious he loves and has a passion for the Toronto Raptors on the down low. And in some ways, his biting incisiveness is out of love of criticalness. He wants to be constructively helping them and saying stuff like that. Nah, and Kate Burness is just a joy. It's like they're night and day. Kate Burness is just a amazing energy, and she's so fun and just interesting to watch. And she treats the game right, and she has enough knowledge. She can be a little snarky at times, but most of the time, she's a very supportive, loving Raptors host for the broadcast. Nikki Reyes is fine. She's a nice stand-in. She's grown on me. She's not better than Kate, but they're both damn for sure better than Kara, and they're both better than Danielle and Brad Fay. The Rogers people are just annoying, man. Like, I feel like once again, in some ways, they don't want the broadcast to be so attractive. It's the way they don't advertise Raptors hardly. They don't talk them up. They'll put advertisements for baseball and hockey over the basketball game. They'll be like, the Raptors are on Sportsnet 1, but you could be watching Blue Jays spring training on Sportsnet 2, and they'll put that all over the screen and advertise that. Do they ever do that the other way? Like if the Leafs are on one of the Sportsnet channel and the Raptors are on the other one, do y'all ever advertise? Like you'll probably put on the Raptors game, Leafs are on Sportsnet 3, tune over there and jump from the Raptors game. Do you ever put that the Raptors are on the Leaf game at the bottom of the screen? See, that's the thing. I'm telling you, man, there's a hierarchy here, and there's all kinds of subtle ways that they establish the hierarchy in all kinds of bullshit ways, trust me. And in some ways, the crazy thing is the Raptors are the most enduring kind of popular brand that MLSC has right now, but they don't treat it like that. They don't treat it like the star of the show. No, they don't. I can't stand Rogers Sportsnet right now. I can't. And this whole Bills night was such a fiasco and stupid. Tracy and Vince, I'm glad y'all came, but in some ways you came for your own selfish reasons. You didn't really come out for an altruistic reason to just show up and be a part of Raptors Nation. No, you came as representatives of the Bills, as part owners, and in some ways that's kind of convoluted bullshit. Although I like what McGrady was saying. He was saying a lot of nice things about the Raptors and their chances in the playoffs. And Vince gave a lot of flowers to Scotty yesterday. They had their fireside chat with Alvin Williams before the game. They had that goofy T-shirt that everybody had in the crowd, which doesn't look right to me. I would never ever want any Raptors/Bills merchandise added to my collection. It's just not that interesting to me. And what was with all the Bills fans that were in the arena? Did y'all advertise this game? Hey, Bills fans, come out. Because there were a lot of people wearing Bills jerseys and Bills apparel in the arena. So I didn't get this. Like, why were they there? Like, seriously. It's like the NFL season ended like months ago, right? Like a month or so ago. Like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Shaq Lindsay saying, If players will get cold if they don't touch the ball, which probably explains the cold feet in the fourth quarter for our younger players. Colin Murray-Boyles walks on hot coals, so there's no doubt he would help. Um, yeah, Colin would definitely help in a game like this with his physicality and his hands and different things that he could do to help out with the game for sure. Colin was definitely missed. And yeah, it is what it is. Neil's saying the first foul on Scotty was fuckery. Well, that set the tone. And that was Courtney Kirkland saying, this is how it is. And y'all are not equal. We're going to let the Knicks do certain things, and y'all are going to get tapped right away. Right away. It was so early in the game, I thought the ref was on the take. Yeah. Well, that is a ref manipulation. That's a classic move. A quick foul right at the start of the game sets the tone and tells one team that, you're not going to be able to do certain things with physicality. And that's what that message was. That wasn't just the first foul. There was a second foul that came very quickly after that also. And the Raptors got two quick fouls within a minute of the game starting. And that is sometimes kind of on purpose. That's part of the directive from the NBA head office. It could very well be Courtney Kirkland is sitting in the back with John Butler and saying, hey, we're supposed to put two fouls on the Raptors immediately at the beginning of the game. Because the bulletin points Tim Donaghy told us about, they exist. Trust me. And there could very well be, well, let's mark this one off right away. Two quick fouls on the Raptors team to set the tone on how they can play. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercely saying, yes, Scotty got a foul 2 minutes in. Not 2 minutes in, 2 seconds in. Scotty got a foul within 5 seconds of the game starting. They jump balled, and they were setting up for the first possession, and Scotty got a foul. Not 2 minutes in. He got a foul like 20 seconds in, like within 5-10 seconds in. Yeah, I was telling myself, great. Lex and his ref report remain undefeated. Well, Courtney doesn't have any love for the Knicks either. And I can tell he made some calls that pissed off Knicks fans too. And I know if Knicks fans came to listen to me, they'd probably be saying, why are you whining about the refs? Courtney Kirkland hates us. He does. He hates you guys. But he also is a company man. He has to follow the lines that Adam Silver has set out for him. And we're not allowed to beat you guys. On the down low, we're not allowed to beat you guys right now. Whether it's to reinforce some bullshit about the OG and RJ and Emmanuel trade, whether it's to because James Dolan sued us and he's just pissed off. There's all kinds of different underlying reasons for why. It could very well be also, yes, the Knicks are better right now and they just are beating the Raptors right now. But this won't last. It's going to come around, and we're going to be on top of y'all again in the next few years. Trust me, it's coming. That's right. All right, let's keep going. Shaq Lindsay saying Scotty doesn't need to score to make his offense run much smoother, which would limit the turnovers. It would also create mismatches. Another reason is because our offense creation isn't that great. It would help if the ball is in his hands. So you want Scotty to be point guard, is what you're asking. You want him to be a hub, maybe at least. Maybe he stands at the top of the key and he's like a high post passer, like we've used Marc Gasol and Jakob Poeltl at times. Maybe. I mean, that does work sometimes. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff we could be doing that I wonder sometimes. Like two-man game is so powerful with the talents that we have. You play a two-man game with Jakob and Scotty with a give and go. That can be very good in the lane to score easy. I like give and goes with Brandon and Scotty. You could do all kinds of stuff with Emmanuel and Jakob. Obviously, we've seen it. There's all kinds of two-man actions that I wish the Raptors would do more of. Sometimes the passing around the horn and doing it with everybody is dangerous, especially against a team like the Knicks who have guys who jump into passing lanes. So maybe the smart thing to do is isolate a shooter in the corner and put two guys on one side and let them work off each other, pick and roll or give and go or whatever, and they can make it work that way. The Knicks were doing some of that last night against us. We could do that against them. Like, I love the actions when I see like Scotty and RJ working off each other in a two-man game or Scotty and Jakob. That shit is usually good fruit, and it's a good way to get offense going without being boring and doing isolation Brandon over and over again. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Neil's saying this, how Raptors play the Knicks and Spurs is how the Raptors should play the Wizards. That's how you build consistency and strength on closing out games. This way you play 48 minutes against top teams. I'm not totally sure what you mean. Attention to detail. This is what the Raptors have to focus on to get to the next level. I agree with that. Clean up dumb turnover mistakes. That's the thing. The Knicks, they tidy up their mistakes. They're not making any mistakes. They're executing. They know what their game plan is. They know what they're doing. That's part of the problem too, is we don't have enough success at the end of the game to understand a template to fall into, as far as these are the actions, these are the plays, this is the call, this is what we should do, because it's been proven to work. In some ways, we don't have enough of a body of work at the end of games and clutch to point to, well, this is kind of what we do in this and this. The Knicks have a lot of this, and they've already kind of like built up the clutchness of Jalen Brunson, so that like they said after the game, I think it was Alvin said it, the Knicks know how Brunson's going to do things as a team, and they all work in conjecture with that. And when Brunson's in a certain mode and they know he's going to go this place and shoot that, every single one of the other Knicks knows exactly what they're supposed to do at that moment. And on our side, we can be a little chaotic and not really together and understanding what we're doing as a group. Does that make sense what I'm saying? That's part of it right there. That's part of it right there. We got less than 15 minutes. I got to get finished, guys. Number one doesn't mean who scores the ball. It means who has the ball in clutch situations to make plays. Jason Kidd was number one on the Nets, and he was the go-to guy when he came to scoring. Yeah, he wasn't the go-to guy, and I wouldn't call him the number one on the Nets. Vince Carter was the number one on the Nets. Vince Carter was, and maybe Richard Jefferson was number two. Shaq Lindsay saying, I trust Scotty's decision-making or BI, especially in the fourth. I don't know about that. In some ways, Scotty doesn't have as much experience as Brandon. And in some ways, Brandon is the vet there in that. Shaq Lindsay saying Scotty has become a passenger to the BI flights. I don't know if that's right either. You got to remember also, Scotty is not an alpha. He's not an aggressive guy. He's not in person. He's a very giving guy. He's like always doting on other people. He puts everybody ahead of himself. It's just part of his DNA and his personality. And in some ways, we can't rewire him to a degree to be what you want him to be, because it's just not who he is. You got to understand this, man. Neil's saying, I don't think his sheds passing is the problem. I think his reads are the problem, because he should understand the passing lanes. That's the same thing, Neil. You're just saying it from a different area. Your passing is whether you read to make that's a safe pass. And he's not passing well if he's not reading that that's not a safe pass to make. That's what it is right there. Yeah. And Smooth saying Toronto isn't going to be a play-in team. They're better than that. I like that. I like Reggie saying that. I really do. I like Reggie saying that. I really do. All right. Let me try and finish up everything in the segments real fast. I'm going to ask you guys to not give me any more comments. First of all, straight goods on Canadian goods. I have Pillars today here. Pillars is a company that does meat, right? I've got the turkey bites here, and I've got Bavarian salami sticks too. These are awesome. These are a great little treat. Pillars is a company that has been in Canada for a long time. It started in 1957 when a young master butcher, Wilhelm Huber, opened a small shop in Waterloo, Ontario, using family recipes and traditions passed down through the generations. He crafted great tasting deli meats inspired by his family's European heritage. 2 years later, his brother Edward and Heinrich joined the company known as Pillars Sausages and Delicatessens. The company is acquired by Premium Brands Holdings in 2011 and is known Pillars Fine Food. But yeah, this is a great Canadian company. You see the seal on the back that has the Canadian maple leaf on there. And yeah, this is, if you want this kind of a snack, go with Pillars. This is a Canadian company, and definitely buy this. I love this Tuscan style salami. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna eat a package of this later. That's right. Neil, no more comments. I got to get done. The game starts in less than 10 minutes. When we play against the Knicks, blah, 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 play the same style. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's all true, right? All right, let me just real quick. I don't even know if I'm gonna do the Instagram stories. Okay, I want to read this real quick. There's something that came out yesterday. If they can get the agreement for the WNBA done by the 10th, this is going to be the timeline, guys. On the 31st of this month, they'll do the CBA sign it, because they're going to hammer out all the prints. So they won't have the deal done by the end of the month anyway. So April's going to be a whirlwind. On April the 1st, they'll give us the protected players list, meaning the players that aren't available in the expansion draft for Portland and Toronto. And then on the 6th of April, they'll have the expansion draft for the Tempo and the Fire. So mark your calendar. April the 6th, if they get this deal done in the next week, will be when the expansion draft is. Then they'll do free agency the next day, April the 7th to April the 11th, and teams can sign restricted free agents and other players, and free agency starts. And then the draft is on the 13th of April. The WNBA draft will be then. And then on the 19th, it'll be training camp. And then preseason starts on the 25th. So this is, they're condensing a 2-month thing into a month. Actually, it's like eight weeks. They're doing everything in like a couple weeks. So this is crazy. This is going to be a detriment to the tempo. It's going to be tougher to get started. If you want context for this, the Valkyries had their expansion draft at the beginning of December and had 4 months to work with their players before they even started their season. So, keep that in mind with the Golden State Valkyries. They had a whole golden brick road laid out in front of them to go into success in their first year and make the playoffs in their first year. We have the exact opposite coming up for us with the Portland Fire sitting next to us. All right, I'm not even going to do the Instagram stories because honestly, I think I'm going to stop doing the Instagram stories because I think they're a waste of time. We'll do the birthday. Happy birthday to Jared Sullinger, former Raptor. He played 1 year for our team, 11 games, one start. He averaged 3.4 points per game. He's a standout at the Ohio State University in college. So happy birthday to Jared Sullinger, who I believe is 33 today, 33 years old. Any breaking news this morning? Doesn't look like it. Y'all check on your fantasy teams. I forgot to set up my fantasy team yesterday, and I missed out on some points against the undefeated HC. So I'm going to make sure I get it set today. That's for sure. All right. I want a fast card because we got to get out of here quick. Yeah, this will work. This will work right here. All right. Here's the classic card of the day, guys. Yeah, real hard. Here we go. Full name answer. Get this right away because I want to be done in 5 minutes because I'm going to go watch the Raptors 905 play Rio Grande Vipers coming up real quick. Who is that, guys? Come on now. Nobody wants to play classic card. Oh, I guess it's just you guys. It's just the members. None of y'all can answer. So, Fiercey, get this card. Come on. Make sure you're live, y'all. Make sure you're live and get this classic card of the day. Come on now. This is come on now. Look at this card, too. I shouldn't show the name. Yeah, somebody write it in. Neil, write it in. Reggie, you still here? Get the classic card of the day, somebody, because I need to close the show. This is the problem with doing members only. The members decide, oh, I'm done. And they take off. We still have 30 people in here. There's got to be at least one member in here that can just write in this guy's name. Fiercey, if you're not live, hit live right now. Seriously, what are you doing? You guys are probably not live. Watching it from late. Oh, my gosh. Well, if nobody's going to get Grady Dick, this will be a DMP. See, I just said it. I even said his name. It's like, what? How hard is this, guys? Nobody's going to write it in and actually take the points? Man, I don't want this to be a DMP Grady. You know what I'm saying? This is I'm going to say we got, because I want to get done and I want to close the stream so I can put on the Raptors 905 game in 5 minutes. It tips off at 11 a.m., guys. This is a school day game. So somebody write in this card, seriously, right now. Write it in. Somebody, it's for your taking. Look at the card. It's a rookie card too. Look, it's got the RC on it. So this is like from a couple years ago for this player. I say his name on the stream. It's like y'all know who this is. Nobody wants it. Nobody's here to get it. Between Reggie, Shaq, Fiercey, Smooth, none of y'all are here. Neil, where are you, Neil? Somebody get the classic card. Come on now. All right. You know what? We're just going to not do it. We're going to say this is a DMP for Grady because y'all did not play on it. Grady Dick. That's the classic card. We're done. Man, what? This is dropping the ball. This is like fourth quarter Raptors execution here. Raptors Nation. Raptors Freaks. Like, seriously, did y'all just like leave because I said no more comments? What the fuck? All right, y'all. We're playing Rio Grande Valley today, and we have these refs, Nate Curley, Claire Simmons, and AJ Ganelli. And, well, the new player is going to hopefully be showing up. Maybe David Roddy will be back, too. That'd be fantastic if David Roddy could come back and play for the Raptors 905 and Drew Jones today. Tyrese Samuel, welcome. Thank you for joining the team. Always happy to see more Canadian content around the Raptors team. So yeah, DMP Grady Dick, y'all botched the classic card, which is crazy because it's Grady, and I'm out. All right, y'all. My stars of the game for last night: Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, and Scotty Barnes in the losing effort against the Knicks. It sucks. I hate Bills night. Rogers Sportsnet, y'all suck. Just a garbage, horrible night that I just got pissed off all kinds of different ways with what happened. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow for a preview of the Minnesota Timberwolves game in Minnesota tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Ref report, latest lineup news, all that. Thanks for watching today. Raptors freak out. Let's go Raptors and Raptors 905. Y'all have a blessed day. Thank you. I love you guys. Thanks for supporting this channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow.